Let me say again, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me here today. And your participation in my campaign certainly is very important to me, and I greatly appreciate your attendance here today, and also your money, so that we can afford to pay the bills for our campaign. Many of you share my belief that our city needs a strong and responsible leadership to prepare us for the future. And those of you who do know me know that I can bring such leadership to the office of mayor at the city of Vaughan. I firmly believe, and I am sure most of you agree, that good leadership is something Vaughan desperately needs, in particular today. Our city is a great city with tremendous potential and can even do much better than we have done. Unfortunately, as all of us know, Vaughan lacks leadership and has not taken the advantage that are available to Vaughan for the last many years. Instead of planning Vaughan for the future, Vaughan Council has wasted time and energy with petty politics, political infighting, and quite frankly, hasn't been able to do the job that people elected council to do. It is bad enough that this lack of direction has prevented Vaughan from moving forwards the way that Vaughan should. And what is even worse is that it has shaken the residents of Vaughan to a degree that nobody, quite frankly, trusts any members of council. If you speak to the people, as I have, no one, hardly no one, will have something positive to say about any member of council. And so, they don't any longer believe that their representatives are working in the best interest of Vaughan. The people of Vaughan feel like they are not being well served at City Hall. As mayor, I will change that, and I will restore their trust, and I will build or rebuild a sense of confidence in City Hall. I know what you're thinking. You're a politician that makes promises just before an election, but then you forget about it. That is what all of you, unfortunately, think. Not just in Vaughan, by the way, that happens all over the GTA. Well, I am not like any other politicians. Some of you know that in my last election, I paid the price because I stood to my principle. I chose not to lie to the people. When people told me, give a little lie, the people will buy, and you're going to win. And I said, no. I've been in politics already for 22 years at the time, and I prefer to stick to the truth so that in the long run, people will remember who I am and will trust me for what I am. Anyway, today I'm releasing, that's why we are here today, a policy, a planning policy, which I call Planning for Vaughan Future. My idea for changing the way Vaughan should be planned, the way we should build our city. There are people whom will oppose some of the things that I'm recommending today. And quite frankly, some of the people, probably even in this room, will do everything they can to defeat me on October the 25th. That is always the story. I can't remember of any election I won where I didn't have a number of people trying to defeat me. Some of them give up after so many tries, and a few more, at least one of them, we are still working on. Hopefully he will join us very shortly. But you know, it's important to me that we do the right thing, that things are done properly, so that the city that I live in, the city that I have been living in for 30 plus years, I moved on January 1st, 1980, over 30 years ago in the city, and I was blessed to get elected 28 years ago. So I owe so much to my city, the city of Vaughan. That is why, one of the reasons why, I want to make sure that we do things properly. Quite clearly, some people believe that their way is the best way. I disagree with that. I think that there are so many business people, developers, builders, any type of business people that, quite frankly, are not getting their best only because a few chooses to do things the wrong way. And by doing that, quite frankly, they're affecting the entire council, and they're giving a terrible name to the entire council. And of course, we can't just blame those few developers. And I say few, I don't say a large number, but also the politicians who don't have what it takes to say no to those individuals. Let me stress that those are proposals, what I'm going to suggest today, and solution as I see them. And if people like yourself and others believe that there is also a better way than what I'm recommending, then I'm prepared to listen to you, so that together we can prepare a plan that will bring Vaughan where it belongs. The policy paper I'm releasing today is the second of the proposals that I am bringing forth my vision of Vaughan. The last one was done a month ago. The first one was called Transparency, Accountability and Openness. It outlines my commitment to improve the way City Hall operates. That is what I did last month. And before I talk to you about my second set of proposals, let me briefly recap what I said last month. Since I announced my candidacy in January, I have been meeting with people across our city. Time and again, the issues that come up are accountability and respectability. As mayor, one of my top priorities will be to take immediate, decisive action to regain the people's trust in their local government. That's what I said last month, and you heard me saying that earlier today. I proposed then 18 steps on achieving that, such as creating a rules committee to firmly establish what is acceptable and what is not, and enforce those rules vigorously. I also recommended 2 hotlines, one for the citizens and the other one for employees, with direct links to the integrity commissioners. By the way, I already got a call from an employee of the city reporting something that is happening at the city illegally. So it works. An online lobbyist registry and an easily accessible record of all suppliers to the city, so that people know who is doing business with the city. What is wrong knowing that? I don't see no problem. Basically, I'm proposing changes to ensure that we are more accountable to the people of Vaughan and do a better job of keeping residents informed of decisions that affect them. The other shareholders, they own the city. The ratepayers of Vaughan owns the city of Vaughan, and so they have the right to know who is doing business with the city. Which leads me directly into the second set of policy proposal. Today I'm recommending 16 policies, which I am announcing, and I am calling it Planning for Vaughan's Future. And as I said earlier, there are some developers or business people who will not like what I'm proposing. But let me explain why I believe those measures are necessary for Vaughan in particular. Those of you who know me know that I am certainly not anti-business. I know we will get more houses, more condos, we will get more social services, and we will be getting more institutions. Those are necessities to deal with what we have and what we are going to have. Those are natural economic forces that, quite frankly, nobody can control significantly. But I also know that we need more offices, more retail space, and more industry space, industrial space, to increase our commercial tax base. Unless we have those, quite frankly, the taxes that homeowners will have to pay it's going to be much more. Industry, commerce, retailing, they pay lots of taxes, but they get very little service, as we know. They are the one who subsidizes our bills, basically. And so we need to stimulate them to come to Vaughan and invest more in Vaughan. And of course, I know that growth, when properly planned and built, is an asset to our city. Not just to Vaughan, but any other cities, quite frankly. And I know that the business community play a major role here in Vaughan. If you look at fundraising, if you look at charitable organizations, the business community mostly is the one who's doing all those things. And so we have to keep that in mind. Now, at the same time, growth needs to be well managed. We can't just let developers run the city their way, because quite frankly, the majority of developers disagree. We need to allow them to provide some leadership, but we also have to manage and control it. And based on my conversation with thousands of residents, the people of Vaughan do not feel that growth is being managed in the city's best interest. That is what the people are saying. Any of you can find out by just talking to them. And I hear it all the time. People are convinced that developers run the city of Vaughan. And so this perception leads to concerns that planning decisions are being made in isolation, with little regard for the impact of the rest of the community. And by the way, if any of you will call the Commissioner of Planning and ask them, what does it mean financially, what you're proposing, there is no answer. And if you ask the Treasury or the Finance Department,